Berri! We arrived late afternoon. Berri was a small farming community nestled by the riverbank, perfectly situated between larger cities. It had at least 36 houses, many with their own farmland and sprawling orchards beyond the river. Of course, it also had an inn for travelers, which was becoming popular thanks to the improved roads.
Wow.
Amari was thrilled, gasping over every little thing while his eyes excitedly darted from one house to the next. Kerr simply rolled his eyes and remained withdrawn as we walked over to my family's house. I admit I was concerned. The ears weren't exactly natural and Amari's hair color was striking even from a distance. There were a few people who passed and gave curious glances, but they relaxed when they saw I was accompanying the newcomers. You knew everyone in Berri, especially if you lived here for most of your life. When we reached my house, I motioned over to Amari and Kerr. Can you two wait here for a bit? I need to talk to my parents first. I can't just invite strangers in. Is it some sort of heavenkind formality? Yeah, formality, something like that. That's why it's important you two don't wander off.
Of course.
Right. I mean it. I opened the door and closed it behind me, stepping into the cozy room. Mom? Dad? I hope they didn't leave to search for me. That would be partially my fault. Aura? Mom! I was embraced in a tight hug. My mother worryingly checked my face before stepping back. Lady Bayard. Where were you? Your dad got all anxious and I kept telling him you'd be alright, but when night came... I'm fine. The reason why my scouting took so long was because I bumped into 2 travelers. They're not amnesiac? Nope. Any mystical-looking pendants on them? They have some simple jewelry, but no pendants. Dark and mysterious pasts? I'm pretty sure not. One is a spoiled brat and the other seems like you'd be the youngest of a dozen siblings. Good. I've had too many troublesome experiences with people like that. Let them into a village and the next instant it's on fire. That's my girl.
Right!
Always thinking of everything. Where's Dad? I'm starving. She laughed at my carefree comment. He should be back soon. She leaned to one side, looking past me. You can let your friends in if you like. I turned to see Amari gingerly tapping on the glass and putting his hands all over it in bafflement. He looked at like a performing mime.
Wow.
What is this brilliant substance? You can see beyond it, but it's a barrier. Not from around here. You could say that. Once we sat down at the table, Kerr was content leaning against the wall being sullen. I quickly explained the situation. I left out the punishment since I had a feeling Kerr would get embarrassed. Here in the first place, they'll be observing our customs and looking at some of the altars we built. That sounds wonderful. I know there's been more interaction between both races recently, but I'm out of the loop now. Mom used to be the captain of the guard for the city of Oliver, but had long since retired. She kept busy performing various protection services for travelers and merchants patrolling Berri, and even taught sword fighting. We were hoping to leave first thing in the morning. And walk the whole way? I could always swim, but it's harder to navigate in this river recently. A lot of heavenkind activity. None of us fly. I guess we could always hire a coachman. Actually, there's a small group of merchants heading for Oliver, and they won't leave until tomorrow afternoon. I had initially offered my services, but if you think you can handle it... You mean it? I can arrange it right now. Up for the challenge? It'll be your first real job outside of Berri without me. Of course, I'll protect them to the best of my ability. She laughed at my enthusiasm and excused herself, letting the dragonkind know that they were welcome to stay overnight. I grinned and pumped a fist into the air.
I'm going to be a real knight!
I feel like this is my first step into real knighthood. A knighthood? Well, probably more like a mercenary. You get hired to protect people and make sure they arrive at their destination safely. That's a good thing. That way we can get to Oliver and earn a little money. However, if I could ask my mom something later, then I'd really be a knight. I could have left for Oliver at any time, but I needed something important first. I was probably grinning like an idiot, but I didn't care. When I heard the door open, I knew it was my dad and immediately jumped up. Mom was likely on her late patrols again and wouldn't be back for a while. You two must be hungry. Is there anything you'd like to eat?
Thank you.
Well, I'm open to anything. I've never tried heavenkind food before. We'll try our best to make you something you'll like, Imari. Kerr? He pondered at first and then reluctantly looked up. Yes?
Look,
The one that had the apple slices on it?
Right.
Oh, apple tarts. Of course, pastries are my dad's specialty. He'll make some for you. The smallest of smiles appeared on Kerr's face, but it quickly vanished. At least there was something heavenkind related that he enjoyed. Almir was pleasant, and I was surprised that my dad got Kerr to say more than a few lines. My dad always had a way of winning people over through his cooking. Imari found our eating traditions extremely complicated, what with all the dishes and utensils used, but he kept getting drawn to the windows again. If I ever let him loose on the stained glass church, I snorted behind my cup thinking about it. When Mom returned, I pulled her away from the group for a private chat. Is it all arranged, so I'll be able to guard the carriage tomorrow? Yes. Then, since I'm going to Oliver anyway, can you write a letter recommending me for knighthood? In Oliver, there was a special guild for knights. People trained by revered knights could be endorsed to serve under the Sun and Moon Council. If I was going to Oliver now, this would be the perfect opportunity to join them. With Mom's name, they would not refuse me. If anything, they'd usher me in with open arms. My mom sighed and rubbed her forehead, already tired of the persistent conversation. Honestly, Aura, I still don't think you're ready and mature enough to... I'm ready! Not only that, I could help Kerr, or help the dragonkind better. Please? She chuckled weakly, but I could tell she was still firm in her decision. Look, I'll think about it. For now, you can assist Kerr and Imari just fine without the rank. I gave her a petulant look, but gave in. Alright, I'm glad you're at least considering it. Thanks, Mom. I returned to the others who were finishing up their meal. As I gathered the dishes, Dad glanced toward the stairs. Would you like to spend the night here? You've already done so much for us. We also prefer spacious places, so we'll be fine outside. You sure? Do you see us living in these things? Not really. We still have some time before it gets dark. I can show you around the town if you like. Imari brightened immediately.
I'll go.
I don't care.
Pass.
Oh.
Weren't you ordered to learn more about heavenkind?
Annoying.
You can just summarize it for me. I'm more about finding the altars, which are locations you visit after you learn.
Let's do this.
Let sleeping dragons lie, Imari. We can have fun without crab apple sulking along. I grabbed Imari's hand and led him outside, deciding to show off the orchard the town specialized in. As we walked down the road, we passed a farmhouse where 4 children ran along playing tag. When one spotted us, he waved, and the other 3 eagerly scampered toward us. Aura, come play, said Chase. Another time, Chase. The youngest sibling crept forward and gazed up at Imari curiously. Heather, your ears are funny. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. They're really cute, don't you think, Heather? She giggled. They look like butterflies, said Heather. The children prodded at Imari and ran around until their mother called them back. Although I did not expect that, Imari seemed to have enjoyed himself. How sweet. They're all siblings, so they play together a lot.
Wow.
Siblings? They're all related? Yeah, it's not uncommon to have large families here, although I'm an only child myself. What about you? I guess you were, like, the youngest of a dozen. No, I'm an only child, too. It's extremely rare for dragonkind to have siblings. I don't think I've met one that had more than 2. He tilted his head, then glanced at me hesitantly, as if pondering something.
I have a question.
Then, for mating season, is it... Alarm bells went off in my head, and I made a giant cross with my arms to dissuade him. Oh no, banned. I'm banning the subject. As if I could accurately answer these types of questions anyways. If you don't ask, I won't ask how it works between dragons.
I'm sorry.
Right. I agree. He appeared so awkward that I couldn't help but laugh, and we chuckled over our quick diversion.
Right.
Alright, let's keep going. I can show you around one of the farms. Okay. One of the barns was open, which belonged to an old friend of my family. I casually strode in, pointing to various equipment. Imari gestured to a device in the
I
corner.
have a question.
What does that do? Oh, it's a churn. You use it to Well, churn milk or cream into butter.
What?
Cream? Butter? Here, I'll demonstrate, pretending, of course. I approached the cylindrical wooden tub and touched the stave. Basically, you plunge this up and down, and it'll shake the liquid and eventually turn it to a solid. Milk, cream, and butter are all types of food. As I explained, the house owner entered carrying 2 buckets filled to the brim with something. Hi, Bryony. I saw you showing your friend around and I thought you'd like to demonstrate the real thing, said Bryony. With a wry smile, she set the buckets down. I wasn't planning on staying.
Wow.
I want to see it! Between Amari's persistence and my inability to decline a request from my mom's friend, I gave in. Alright, I'll show you, Amari. Then afterwards you can show him how to milk cows, said Bryony.
Let's do
Fine,
this.
I'll do it. I'll do it all. I wasn't sure how, but I got roped into chores while showing Amari around. His questions were endless, and he enjoyed every minute of it. Whenever I offered for him to take over, he'd shake his head and say that he'd probably mess up. I had the feeling he was just saying that. At least he loved the apple orchard when I was finally able to guide him there. It was late evening when we returned, and I was rolling my aching shoulder. Ugh, even my calluses have calluses. I haven't done farm stuff in years. I'm surprised I remembered it all. I've been more focused on my sword training and patrolling duties as of late. But did you have fun, Amari? He grinned like a child who had just left the sweet shop with a pocket full of cookies.
That is so
I did. I thought it was
amazing.
really interesting. I don't know if you'd call it interesting, but I guess I'd been here so long that it's all routine to me. If I was a knight, I could do more things. Nothing. Thinking out loud. You sure have a lot of questions regarding heavenkind.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. I love learning about new things. In return, if you have any questions about dragonkind, I'd be happy to answer. He stopped and shyly fidgeted with his hands, and I could tell he anticipated an inquiry. Ask how he knows your language, and confess you want to touch his ears. Oh, I want to touch your ears. Well, I do have one. It's been bugging me ever since I encountered Kerr, actually.
Of course.
Ask away. Can I touch your ears? It's not a real question. It totally is, and it's dragonkind related. Can I? I know Kerr would refuse. If you want to. I took a step forward and extended my hands, letting him see my movements since it was a rather close position. Oh, I love the cartoon! I reached up and gripped the ends of his ears lightly. The thin skin felt delicate between my fingers, while the other parts were like cartilage. They twitched slightly depending on where I gazed. Aw, they're adorable. They are like fluttering butterfly. It was then Amari reached over and touched my ears, his thumb massaging the inner region. Uh-oh. What are you doing? My ears aren't that unique. They are to me. I've noticed heavenkind have 2 different types of ears. Ah, yes, I'm a sun child. Mine are smooth on the outside. Moon children have pointy ears. Sun children possess the element of light, while moon children get their powers from the darkness. His fingers pushed my hair back to observe the rims.
Wow.
Fascinating. The sun children and moon children get along. Everyone seems to mingle together. Yes, the only difference is what we worship. What about dragonkind? Is it the same for you? Not exactly. Dragon and Urius are respectively aware of each other but avoid association, although there are some exceptions. Ignites live in the volcanic regions and isolate themselves, while Kirape rarely leave the skylands. We pretty much keep to our own kind for the most part. I see. We should probably let go before people wonder why we're standing like this.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We hastily let go, our amused smiles reassuring each other that we were at ease. I should go to bed now. We have a busy day ahead of us.
Thank you.
Night, Auralee. Thanks so much for everything. It's fine. I had fun too, even if I got dragged halfway across Berri to do odd chores. Once I opened the door to my house, I spotted my mom sitting at the table, holding a quill over some blank parchment. I covered my mouth to muffle a squeal. You're doing it? You're writing the letter? I bounced on my heels and launched into a tackle as I hugged my mom from behind. I peered over her shoulders.
I'm going to
You're
be
actually
a real
going to do
knight.
it? You're actually going to do it? I'm gonna be a knight. I halted and suddenly confused. Wait, what made you change your mind? My mom laughed and leaned back, flashing me a meaningful smile. Well, I did some thinking and I thought maybe you were right. You are ready. That's what I've been telling you.
Thanks!
Thanks, Mom. Love you and good night. I look forward to reading it in the morning. I dashed upstairs, determined to fall asleep. However, I couldn't help but toss and turn as I replayed the day's events. And not only Amari's questions, but that I was going to become a knight once I arrived in Oliver. The task to protect the carriage could be viewed as my first duty as a knight. My first real mission, I slowly couldn't sleep now. I hugged my pillow and rolled around, unable to stop my giddiness.
I'm going to be a real knight!
I'm going to be a professional knight! Do professional knights normally act like this? I don't care, I'm so happy! To achieve the title of the knight, and one usually had to be trained at a famous school or academy and graduate from there. Since I did not live in a big city that had much establishments, I trained solely under my mom instead, and her status and achievements were well known, which was why I needed the letter badly. If she recommended me, other captains or noblemen would probably hire me, and I would serve the Sun and Moon Council. And I'd be able to see more of Asteria outside of Berri, as a real knight. Unable to remain still, I hopped out of bed and paced restlessly. I approached the window, not sure what I expected. How are those two doing anyway? It's not like Kurt can transform back and sleep how he always does. I wonder if I can find them and check on them quickly. Snatching the blanket off the bed, I wrapped it around my shoulders like an oversized shawl. I then strapped on my belt and scabbard and walked out the door. Outside it was comfortably cool, and I found the sound of crickets and frogs soothing as I walked beside the river. I guess I anticipated finding Amari asleep on the bank or underwater. On a whim, I entered the apple orchard. I spotted Amari sitting against one of the tree trunks. His ears instantly perked up, although I had the feeling he heard me approaching earlier. Can't sleep? Something like that. I sat down next to him. He poked at the grass in front of him dejectedly. Kerr wouldn't bond with me. Bond? Dragons bond by nesting together. I thought since we were going to be traveling companions despite our differences. He hated the idea, though. Kerr doesn't seem like being touched in general. I can imagine. He stopped and tucked his knees up, his arms resting around his legs. What about you? Is it different between heavenkind? Well, cuddling is something between family and loved ones. Hugs are more acceptable between friends. What did I know? My mind was full of knighthood dreams and sword skills. In no way was I knowledgeable about heavenkind relationships. Hug? You put your arms around someone and hold them close. I mimed the action using my blanket. He nodded in understanding. Then I guess you wouldn't, Yeah, accept it. Declining Amari would be rejecting a basket full of kittens that looked up at you pleadingly. For a few minutes, I can't stay out here all night. I do need to return to my bed. Aww. I shuffled over to him until we were shoulder to shoulder and adjusted the blanket so I draped it over both of us. It's not that cold out? Not really, it feels nice. So, forgot to ask this earlier, but why are you interested in learning about heavenkind? Because your culture is fascinating. Huh?
That is so amazing!
Everything in heavenkind is so amazing. You can create things I've never seen before, and you look like, and look, you can do this. He wiggled his thumb and fingers. They're so dexterous. I laughed and mimicked him momentarily. It's true our kinds are interacting more. I assumed you've heard of it.
Of course.
Yes, I'd like to be a sort of mediator. I think you call it a diplomat? I've already tried to help heavenkind before, but it didn't work out. It's harder than it looks. How so? Well, this one incident, they were willing entering this monster's mouth, and there was nothing I could do about it.
What?
Wait,
No.
A monster? Yes, the strange one that smells of wood and floats on the water. I've never seen it before, and the heavenkind simply entered it. I nudged a few times, but people seemed upset. Amari, those are boats. We use those to travel up and down the river.
What?
So it wasn't a monster? He slumped into the blanket, mortified. I patted him on the shoulder, trying to reassure him. It's okay, misunderstandings happen. You had good intentions. And now you'll be able to study heavenkind at a more personal level. I'll do my best to clarify anything you're uncertain of. In return, tell me more about dragonkind. That seems fair. I'll try not to ask any more boring questions, though. I mean, what interested me didn't seem so fun for you. I'm never churning butter again. Feeling that our conversation had reached a satisfying note, I clutched the blanket and stood up. You'll be fine by yourself?
Of course.
Yes, I'll see you in the morning. Playfully, I draped the blanket back over him. Even a dragon might need an extra layer of warmth in the heavenkind body. Take care, then. As I sauntered back to my house, guided by the bright moon, I spotted Kerr restlessly pacing by the door. Need something? Imari is past the river if you're looking for him.
I don't care.
Nothing to do with him, but thanks for the heads up, since I can avoid him easier. I would have given him a light punch on the shoulder, but I remembered he hated contact. Mean, play nice. He'll be traveling with you after all. I hope you don't mind being stuck with me until we reach Oliver. I think we will have fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Annoying.
I've noticed. I've heard you squealing even from afar. My ears couldn't shut it out if I tried. I'm sorry. It's something I've always wanted to do, and now it's the perfect opportunity. All the experience from my freelance jobs will finally pay off, and I'll be on the road to knighthood. Let's make tomorrow's task a successful one. We're guarding that wagon so the merchant's cargo will arrive safely in Oliver. Think you can handle it? He wrinkled his nose. An escort mission? Not the most glamorous duty, but it's honorable. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I promise I'll stop squealing. As I was about to open the door, Kerr stepped forward.
Look.
Wait, He scratched the back of his neck sheepishly, and I was surprised by his rather modest display. Yes? About earlier, when you crammed that food into my mouth?
Oh, sorry about that.
I was joking, so don't worry about it. I'm sorry if it seemed mean-spirited. It wasn't my intention. No, you were right. Huh? Kerr seemed both shocked and offended by my reaction.
Thanks.
What I mean to say is, you did help me, a little. A little? I gave you a walking stick, fed you, fought a giant bird, took you to an altar, got ditched, only for you to come back crawling back, and I accepted you a second time. Now I'm starting to wonder why I did. I find contemplating, and he glanced away anxiously, dreading that I would refuse to help him now. I stuck out my tongue to appease him. Don't worry about it. Maybe I was right about me having immeasurable kindness. I am grateful, but you exaggerated a bit. You're definitely not the best heavenkind has to offer. Wow. Peaked, I gave him a swift kick in the back of the leg. Ow!
Right!
You're right, I'm not. But I'll definitely be the best knight. Even if I lost some kindness points with that action, I'll re-earn them tomorrow. Night, Kerr. Night. I closed the door behind me, resisting the urge to squeal about tomorrow.